What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're going to be talking about Marauders Annual #1 by Steve Orlando and Kreese Lee. And in this video, we are going to talk about the return of a long time missing character in the X-Men mythos, who just recently made their triumphant return to the Marvel Comics universe. And we're going to offer some theories as to why this character is back and in the present day timeline, considering that they come from the far-flung future of 2099. We're going to talk about all this and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, hit that subscribe button. I post multiple videos throughout the week, plus live stream the Blerd Cave every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So hit that bell button, that way you don't miss anything. And also while we're at it, Hulk smash that like button. With that out of the way, let's talk about Marauders Annual #1.
You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Let's not stand on ceremony here. A character from the X-Men's future timeline of X-Men 2099 has made their triumphant return to the present day of Marvel Comics. Now, the interesting part about this to me is that this is a character who has, for the longest part, I would say, has just not been around. They've only ever had about roughly 7 or 8 appearances in comics that I'm aware of, starting all the way back with their first appearance in X-Men 2099, #3, back in 1993. And this is a character by the name of Brimstone Love, a character who pretty much had this crazy fascination with pain and torture. They were, for all intents and purposes, a pinhead-like entity in the Marvel Comics universe, albeit not exactly in the same way as the Cenobite himself, even though he looks like some demonic, devilish creature. But you get the idea that I'm going with. He became obsessed with torture, even being the founder of the Theater of Pain, which makes its triumphant return in this issue. Now, an interesting thing about Brimstone Love, and I don't know, maybe this was never made explicitly clear in the X-Men 2099 comic, is that it was kind of debatable as to what Brimstone Love actually was. I mean, he clearly wasn't human, and he clearly wasn't just some guy in a costume. He seemed to be an actual demonic entity, and while it's not out of the question that he was ever a mutant proper in X-Men 2099, it was one of those things that I don't think was ever really truly 100% addressed. That said, when we're reintroduced to Brimstone Love in this issue, it's made explicitly clear that he is in fact a mutant. This is something that is new information, considering that, for one, his origin was never really truly 100% revealed in the few issues of X-Men 2099 that he did appear in. But here it is stated that in this new iteration of himself, he is in fact a mutant who apparently, or supposedly, this guy is a bit of a con man and a snake oil salesman to a degree. He is someone who claims to have believed in the original dream of Charles Xavier, the dream that mutants and human beings could live together in peace and prosperity. And he's a bit upset about the fact that Krakoa exists. He's angry that mutants have become isolationist, and more important than that, he's upset that humans have been forsaken by mutants, that humans aren't allowed on Krakoa, even the ones who loved mutants and fought for mutants. And what he has done is he has brought together an angry mob of these people who are humans, who fought for mutant rights, who believe in mutant rights, as well as other mutants who feel like they have been rejected by Krakoa, and even a group of Morlocks who, technically the Morlocks not going to Krakoa, that's kind of more on them than it is mutant kind proper. The Morlocks, for those who don't know, when Krakoa was founded, the Morlocks chose to stay in the United States proper, basically creating their home primarily in Arizona, kind of living in what was, for all intents and purposes, a retirement community, and just living out their days there, though this was largely due in part to the fact that the Marauders, the original recipe Marauders, the same ones responsible for the mutant massacre, they were allowed amnesty on Krakoa, and the Morlocks are still really raw about that when considering that, the Morlocks were the ones they massacred. Now, getting away from all that, the real question here remains, if this guy is truly in fact a mutant, as he so claims, once again, this is one of those situations where he could be lying his ass off. But the point is that he's lying to these people. He's manipulating what they believe. He is sold sold them on the lie that the X-Men, that mutant kind as a whole, has forsaken humans and mutants and forsaken Charles Xavier's dream. And in a way, he's not entirely wrong. The dream technically has been forsaken. Mutants have basically distanced themselves from humans, but it's not because Charles doesn't believe in the dream anymore. It's the fact that he realizes that the dream can't be accomplished without first making sure mutants are in a place that they can be protected as well. Now, yes, Krakoa does not allow humans on the island, at least not in mass. It's mostly on a case-by-case basis. As we know, Jubilee's adopted child, baby Shogo, is, as far as we're aware, just a normal human. Northstar's own husband, Kyle Genadu, he is a normal human. It's not out of the realm of possibility for humans to be on the island. But the point of the matter is, Brimstone Love doesn't care about that, and all he cares about is sowing discontent. The main idea here is that Brimstone Love is trying to recreate the Theater of Pain from his future timeline of Earth 928, which is a theoretical future. It's not the future that mutant kind will see, but it is a possible future that mutant kind could see on Earth 616. It's basically what Earth 616 could become, but it just hasn't happened yet. But Brimstone Love is trying to recreate that same Theater of Pain here in the present day. And the original Theater of Pain was mostly for rich sycophants and sadists so that they could witness the pain of others. And this was roughly around the time of a world where humans and mutants had basically had an all-out civil war, if you remember the storylines of X-Men 2099. Brimstone Love is a powerful individual and not someone that can be taken lightly. This is a guy with a pretty wide array of different powers and capabilities, able to manipulate the Earth itself. He's also capable of wielding and controlling flame, and he's also incredibly strong and incredibly durable. I would even dare say nigh invulnerable, if not for the fact that Daken cut one of his horns off. Hell, Brimstone Love is so powerful, he even created a massive sinkhole in the Greenwich Village community where he had gathered all those people who believed in his cause. People who rabidly defended him and people who were rabidly ready to fight the Marauders themselves in hopes of upholding Brimstone Love's cause. And while it seems like Brimstone Love wasn't successful in what it was he was trying to do, he actually was. He gathered an entire mob together based around a shared unity of hatred for Krakoa, not mutants, but Krakoa itself. These people who came together weren't just humans, they were also mutants, some of them even Morlocks, and they believed in what it was that he was selling them, to the point that he was giving each of them the opportunity to kill Daken, a mutant who can regenerate, so they could literally just kill him as many times as they wanted to. But he got them to believe in what it was that he was selling, to the point that they were eating all of this up. And we learn here towards the end of this that there is a greater picture that we haven't seen yet. Somewhere, Brimstone Love has the attention of someone else in the Marvel Comics universe, and it seems like the plan is to build an even bigger Theater of Pain than what existed before, as he even says himself that if the creation of a mutant island afforded him the capability of creating an anti-Krakoan neighborhood, imagine what the creation of a mutant planet would get him. It would probably allow him to create his own anti-Krakoan nation, or even a United Nations worth of anti-Krakoans. We don't really know what the full end game here is, but it seems like growing the Theater of Pain is the chief idea, and whoever it is that's working with him, that is a whole other story in and of itself. I don't think it's anyone we've already met. I want to believe that this might be someone entirely new. Either way, that still doesn't answer the question of what Brimstone Love is doing in the present day. It's not necessarily implied that he's old enough to have existed in the present as well as in the future of 2099, but that's not out of the realm of possibility. Maybe this is just OG Brimstone Love, and this is just, he has always been around and he's just incredibly long-lived. I don't think time travel or anything of that nature has anything to do with any of this. I honestly think Brimstone Love is just a long-lived mutant. And if that's the case, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for him to exist in this time frame and then also exist in 2099, because it's not really that far apart for a mutant who's long-lived. Hell, Wolverine has been around around for over a century, and he's not even the most powerful mutant in existence. That said, we also know that there is another big mystery that's on the horizon for our Marauders characters, because a Mysterium puzzle box has been brought to Kate Pryde's attention. A Mysterium box that's supposedly 2 billion years old. Now, of course, Kate brings up the obvious. Mysterium was something that was literally just created not that long ago, within the last year. So how can this be 2 billion years old already? Which, not only that, it's a box that is addressed to Kate Pryde, with her name being written in Krakoan. Not only that, it has what appears to be some sort of a map hidden inside that has Kate's handwriting on it, which means something has happened and it's gonna get into some weird wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey shenanigans. So maybe Brimstone Love, if this is connected in some way, maybe there was time travel involved in this, who knows? But that is the mystery that Steve Orlando is setting us up with. He is also kind of giving us a little bit of an insight as to the characters we're gonna be spending a lot of time with in his Marauders series going forward, which I believe he says will be starting in April. We know that Quanon, Bishop, Daken, Kate, Aurora, Tempo, and Somnus will be involved in. I don't know, I'm really interested in this because I feel like he is fleshing out these characters in some ways, at least some of these newer characters, in ways that I wasn't really expecting it, to be seen this way. Of course, we know we're going to be getting a lot more to do with the character Somnus, who, if I'm not mistaken, was introduced in one of the Marvel Voices Pride issues. We also are learning more about Tempo, a character I didn't even really realize was a lesbian character. She never really seemed to have been presented in that way before, but we see in this issue that she is in the middle of a breakup with the character Bouncer, who's a deep cut if ever there was one. I think this is only the second time she's ever appeared in a comic ever in life, and I can't wait to find out what's more to that story there. And it seems like we're going to be getting a lot more of Quanon and learning more about how she is going to come back, how she's going to bounce back from her time with the Hellions and the manipulations that she suffered at the hands of Mr. Sinister. And it seems like we'll be getting a little bit more insight into the relationship between Daken and Aurora, as well as the history between Daken and Somnus. And I wonder if there's going to end up becoming some kind of an interesting love triangle there, or if they're going to address any of that in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't know. I'm curious to see. There's a lot of mysteries to unravel here, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and let me know what you thought about Marauders Annual #1. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.